Christian Doran runs an organisation called Recovery Virtual Reality. I know it's Recovery VR, but I just like everybody to know what VR stands for, because they're often of an era of my own. So Christian is a talented filmmaker for Canberra, silently nurtured his passion for cinematography while telling others he aspired to be a chiropractor. Good change, can I say? Good change. His life took a profound turn when he stumbled upon a data set revealing the 3-month wait list for post-stroke therapy in rural and remote communities. Fueled by inspiration, Christian tapped into his filmmaking expertise, spending 18 months travelling across Australia to create immersive VR or virtual reality programs for post-stroke recovery. Collaborating with physios and capturing iconic landscapes, he developed a relaxing and effective virtual reality solution using medical techniques. Christian's dedication showcases the powerful fusion of creativity and compassion, bringing hope to stroke survivors wherever they may be.
Well, thanks everyone for having me. That was a lovely introduction. Thank you. So I mean, a lot of that's a good bit of background actually. I started building this application for survivors of stroke. I started building a sport product, and I ended up at the AAS, and someone mentioned rehab, and when you actually look at the studies that are being done around the world, the most effective kind of rehab using virtual reality is for stroke survivors. So I kind of twisted around a little bit and started building, and I'm not a clinician. I'm from the film industry, and I'd never built VR before. This has been a wild ride. I'm now about 3.5 years in. And the application has grown in many different ways. One of the first things that happened after creating some gamified physio techniques was partnering with a pain clinic in Canberra that got me to make a whole bunch of videos, which I'll show you in a sec, about using videos to immerse somebody in somebody else's body and actually activate pain in their body, which is leads to desensitization and all sorts of great things. But since then, the comorbidities of stroke have also come into the application, which means mental health and that pain portion. So we do a lot of mindfulness, and phobias have slipped in. The application's been growing. You're kind of one of the first people to get a demonstration of version 2 of the product. So we've been somewhere and we've built an entirely new platform, which is now. I was at Royal Rehab yesterday, updating all of their headsets with this new version. So even they kind of haven't seen it. So this is fresh off the press, and that means things might break. Software is a constant, chasing bugs down alleyways. I did a demonstration this morning at Advanced Rehabilitation Centre, and I got there and grabbing didn't work. So we're pre-release on that software. So yeah, we're still stamping out all sorts of different things. So I'll just show you kind of what we've built. We've built it. It's this. You can use this in a clinic, but we've actually built it as a telehealth device. So, because what I believe is that it's most useful for motivating therapy in between clinical sessions. The motivation for therapy is one of the biggest things about getting that adherence up, getting those reps up. So that's what we've been trying to do, make rehabilitation kind of fun in a way, or meaningful in the home. So I'm going to share my screen now, and I'll just show you the web portal that lets your clinician interact with you in your home. So I will just go to, there we go. Great. So this is sorry, it's going to be called AtlantisVR for today. We've been working on a couple of different products, and this is the branding that's the works the best at the moment. What we have here is an organization is able to collect all of their patients in a single place. So I've got a list of patients here, and what we can do is actually create goals. So those patient goals become digital goals that can be set by a clinician. And so I can say, I'm going to get rid of this one because there's only 4 spaces for a goal, but I can add a goal of, I just have to move these ones, of elbow extension or neck flexion, whatever your particular kind of part of your body that needs the most help at this time. So I'm going to say elbow extension, and I'm going to say on your left side, and I'm going to say, I want you to be working towards, 180 degrees. I'll just do 140. And everything about the world starts to adapt to that. So if a game kind of does that, it will measure that and show you that and work towards your goal. So now I've got, I'll just add this, increase this a little bit. So you can see now that over this time, with my left elbow extension, I've got the clinician can see what kind of effort you've been putting in, how many reps you've done towards the goal, and how close you are to that movement goal. So it's a real way to, on top of motivating those movements over and over for reps, it's also a clinician can see what your progress is. They can also set up prescriptions. So I can say, I'm going to, here's a good one. I'm going to put you in axe throwing for 5 minutes and then tennis for 5 minutes. And that's what you have to do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for a period of time. So the patient can just click on one button and do the therapy that they're supposed to do towards their goals in a day. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to be motivated to look around and find the right application for you. The clinician can also go to telehealth. And if you have the VR headset on your head, they can connect to you, see what you're seeing, and then control your headset. So that's what I'm going to do right now and show you inside Recovery VR, what you're going to be seeing inside a headset like this. I probably should have started here. This is Recovery VR. You put this VR headset on your head, and you put these in your hands, and you can explore an entire world and play lots of different activities and be exposed to lots of different things by doing this. So I will just now hop in. Right, what I'm going to do, sorry, I have to move you guys again. I'm going to pick a device, and I can log in a patient remotely. So I'm going to pick me. And it doesn't look right. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, here we go. Great. Okay, so this is what you see in the virtual reality. It's crisp and completely immersive, and it completely it controls my world. These are my hands, so I can still see the controllers. But what we've done is actually build a world to explore. So version 1 was very much a list of activities that you could press and play. This one, I can go and explore and find the things that I want to do. I could play axe throwing, or I could go to mindfulness exercises, or I could, let's have a look at,
it went black
quickly.
It was always saying is black on your screen.
Sorry, I'll reconnect. Sorry, that disconnected for a reason. Interesting. Please do tell me if that happens again. So, all right. So this is the world we're in. I've got a house that's mine. I can do things in that house and I can add things to that house. I've got a gym across the road. I've got tennis courts, golf courses, all sorts of things. I can go around and explore the world and find the things that I want to do. But of course, the goals that your clinician sets you defines what is available to you. So we work on the basis of the self-determination theory, where it's all about autonomy. What you want to do is what you should be able to do. But we're going to add as many things to this world as possible so that what you want to do is also what meets your clinical goals. So I'm just going to, this is a random one, I'm going to go for a nature walk. And so we use a lot of 360 video. What you'll see here is, actually, I got sent back to the menu. Okay, these are the bugs I was talking about. I will just open up this and go to here. Interesting.
It again, love.
Oh, okay. Interesting. That's good. Good to know. I'm going to go back then and start a different activity.
How about we do axe throwing, love? I'd love to throw an axe.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. These are the teething of building a new set of software. I'm just going to quickly restart it. The dropping out of the streaming has started today for some reason. We'll find out why that happens. And sometimes it sends you, and definitely I'll go straight into axe throwing for you.
That's all right.
Axe throwing is one of the funnest things that we've got because it's so simple and it works so well in VR. Okay, great. Okay, I'm just going to push the computer back a little bit for this because I will throw an axe into the screen. So what you can see here, over here, is actually where you can see where my elbow extension and my shoulder flexion is. So if I go here, I'm at 90 degrees shoulder flexion and I'm at 0 elbow extension right now, 0 degrees elbow extension, and I bring it back and I go to 160 degrees. So the system is able to see where all my upper body parts are, how much I rotate my body, my spine, how much I rotate my neck, and all my wrist functions. So we're able to make games that measure you very, very well. Okay.
You disconnected again, love. Sorry.
Oh, yep. Thank you. I'll throw an axe.
Can we put a face on the?
Sorry?
Can you put a face on the target?
A face on the target? No, not yet, but enough feedback that's going to help. We'll definitely do that. Oh gosh, not having a good. Oh, there we go.
Oh, that's excellent.
Whoa. Oh, I'm having a. Oh. Ha. Oh, jeepers. Oh gosh.
Does it give you a score too?
What it's doing, I'm not doing my movements properly because I'm worried about hitting the computer. And right. What happens is if I do my actions right, I get more points, right? So it's gamifying the proper full shoulder flexion and full elbow extension. And what your clinician is able to do is set this to make the minimum requirement movement based on your ability. Right. So if you're very acute stroke or whatever it might, traumatic brain injury, and you don't have a lot of movement, you can lower the threshold for all of the actions. Okay. I'll pop into something else. Well, why don't I do a bit of, actually, I want to play video for you. So let's have a look at something completely different, like sensation imagery. So this is great for complex regional pain. So I might go to, hot mug. Let's have a look at this. Yep, cool. So in these videos, I am not moving my hands. I'm not doing anything. I can have a look around. There's a dog and a cat, and my old cat has been dead for a couple of years now. And what happens to somebody with complex regional pain or phantom limb pain is that these arms, even though I'm not moving, I'm not attached to them, I can't feel these things, they will feel pain in that appendage. So when these hands touch what I believe is a very hot cup, somebody with increased chronic pain or phantom limb pain will experience pain when they watch this, which is a huge disconfirmation of their pain. Chronic pain happens in the brain most of the time, and not in the hand that is feeling the pain. And if you're feeling pain and you're not even touching the hot cup, that's a huge disconfirmation of where the pain is happening. So I've got lots of chronic pain patients that use this daily for desensitization. I will just head back to...
It's disconnected again, but I think it's because the mouse is on the connect and disconnect button. So
okay, maybe. Thank you. Something else I will show you is our exposure applications. So I will just go into crowds. So this is kind of outside of what we were doing originally, but we got lots of people who wanted to do these kinds of activities. So I might go into a video of a large number of crowds. Here I am in Melbourne, there's the Flinders Street station. And I'm about to walk through a crowd of people. And so for people who have great anxiety going outside because of crowds, you can use these to desensitize your emotional reaction to the world around you. I'm just going to wait for the green light, head on in. There we go. So, yes, being able to practice being in these sorts of environments is really important for somebody with anxiety. What I'm going to do, though, is show you kind of the next evolution of that, which is being able to go into an interactive environment that is a crowd phobia exercise. So we're starting to create digital environments that have, I'm a little bit low. So in this cafe, nobody is here. If
You've disconnected again, love.
Oh, thank you. That's something I'm going to fix in the next day or two. So I can add people, and a clinician can add people. If they're sitting next to me or halfway around the world, they can press buttons in this web app to add people. And slowly the sound in this environment is getting louder and louder. And I'm starting to... oh, wow, that is no good. Interesting. So I can add more and more people to this room and take them away so that I can sit in the amount of people that are make me uncomfortable and desensitize myself to these sorts of crowds. So we're doing this for heights. We're doing it for driving is a big one for lots of people. I'll just head back. Something else is distraction. So when you're in doing pain flare-ups, I have about 50 videos from around the world. But these I've only just got a few in from the Australasia region. So I can be transported to the Great Barrier Reef, or I can be transported to, let's have a look, let's go a random video. I'm on the Gold Coast. Let's go another one. Here I am in Myanmar on a fishing boat. So trying to increase the cognitive load on the person's brain, sending them to new experiences, which decreases pain. So that it's about pain distraction. So we use a lot of these sorts of video techniques for somebody who has major pain. Here I am at a pagoda. So I'll just hop out of these ones. We also do a lot of mindfulness, but what are you guys interested in? Are you interested in more mental health or physical activity?
I wouldn't mind having a look at the physical activity, the sorts of things that can be used by stroke survivors. I know pain's a big issue, so we might come back to that when people talk about it. But some of the physical activities that you could use. And have you got any for speech at all, or is yours a different one to speech?
No, I've got plans for speech, but no, that's actually a very complex application, a software application to develop. But I've got ideas. So I'll just go through a few of the movement kinds of types. So I'm going to do neck therapy in this one. And this is a simple game which gets me to flex my cervical muscles around, and I control this board with my neck. And I can also choose to play this in wrist with a wrist function. So I can use my wrist to move it around. And the idea is to get the ball through the maze, but with small, it's tricky, and it forces you to possibly bend your neck in ways that you don't. One of the secret sources of virtual reality is the ability for it to get you out of your body. So when you're in this virtual world, you might reach further, you might twist more without even noticing it. It's one of the great things about virtual reality. It has this amazing out-of-body experience, and often the clinicians that use this software will show the client video of them doing things that they would never do in their current life. I'm going to play this time. This is all about elbow extension and shoulder flexion. And I've got two boxing gloves here. And I'm going to, you can't hear this, but I've got a very jazzy song. And I've got to get the most score here. So big list of different activities. Ooh. And in this game, I feel like I'm dancing, basically. It's very jazzy, excellent song. And what I'm doing here is getting my reps up. We're just about to, I might hop out of here. You get the idea. What we're moving to is actually a rep-based system where in every game, what you're doing will actually clock up reps every time you do a successful rep. So I might just play a bit of stadium tennis while we're here. So every time, this is to create internal shoulder rotation and external shoulder rotation. Here I am. I've got a.
It's not connected.
It's cut out.
Is it connected? Yeah, interesting. I don't know when that is and why. I'm just as good as this as I am in real tennis, so not very good. But yeah, so we're just implementing right now. Up here, you'll see every time you do an internal shoulder rotation, you'll clock up a rep towards that goal. And it might be an external shoulder rotation or an internal shoulder rotation based on where that guy serves it to you. Oof. There we go. And at the end of every game, you get to see how many reps you did and what your current goal and activity was like when you as you averaged across the different games. Something completely different is we've got a exercise physiologist in here, which can take you through a whole bunch of different kind of stretching. And this is another one where it's like we will have Colby here taking us through the stretches that we need to do, but we can also make this digital, and we can work with a much more interactive way of experiencing these sorts of stretches. I'll just exit that activity. What I will do now is just take you into, I'll just escape here. What a clinician would do is set up a prescription for you on certain days and might get you to do some stretching based on your goal, and then play a game that's based on your goal. Have a rest with a nice, relaxing 3-minute sit on a beach, and then head you into another activity. And so you wouldn't have to think about that. You would be actually doing exactly what your clinician's telling you to do, and they would be able to see what kind of effort you put in and what kind of improvement those activities are doing for you. So that's the kind of loop system that brings your clinician into your home and makes it every day. Like, so you're not waiting for those clinical sessions before you can do your exercises. So that's kind of an overview of what we do. Any questions?
I guess how easy is it to navigate once you have the headset on? I guess the user interface mainly. Or...
very easy. That menu comes up at any time, and you can choose anything you want to do. What we do though, there are some things that are dangerous, more dangerous to do without a clinician there. So we, through telehealth, you can do a few more things because the clinician is with you and talking you through that activity. But yeah, when you're in there, you can walk around, choose whatever you want to do, pull up the menu and navigate. We try to make that as easy as possible.
You were talking about having it for rural and remote, love. So, I mean, you talked about ARC and Royal Rehab, and they're both city-based organisations. What other places, say in New South Wales, have you sort of got this technology operating?
No, New South Wales has been the Sydney metropolitan ones. We're in a lot of regional Victoria. So, I mean, recently we've just done a bid with Advanced Rehabilitation Centre to get a grant to distribute the headsets widely across regional and rural New South Wales, and do a clinical study on the efficacy of this kind of therapy when there's not the medical services in those places.
Right.
Yeah, so it's about bringing more therapy to anywhere that doesn't have medical service.
Royal Rehab do have a partnership, I think, or they've almost taken over, I believe, Breakthrough in regional areas. Are you likely to be looking at, I guess, putting this type of technology out through Breakthrough as well?
Yeah, we're talking about that right now. They're currently rebranding all of that to LifeWorks.
LifeWorks.
Yeah, and sorry.
They keep changing names on us.
And they're actually building a big new facility in Cairns. That is a LifeWorks facility. Yeah, so and so we've got a few headsets in there, and slowly, all of those Breakthroughs will turn into LifeWorks and have this software in them. Involved in them
as well. Yeah. And I guess, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that anybody does it without a therapist involved, because, I think you have raised the issue of a little bit of danger, particularly with things like, axe throwing. For somebody who's had a stroke, that could be a bit of an issue, not in terms of anything else, but in terms of the shoulder subluxation and things like that. So what will there be, I guess, a development in this process whereby you're looking to have this develop so that it could be used by an individual without the overseeing of a therapist of any description?
Look, well, we're in the homes of over 30 NDIS participants at the moment, and that they can use that whenever they want, but the clinician is always involved to guide them towards what programs they should be doing. But it is safe enough for a person to be doing in their own home.
And so all you really need in your own home would be the headset, access to the internet, and I don't know, I presume a computer. Would that be correct? Or
you don't need a computer at all, no.
Okay.
Only the clinician really needs the computer to be able to interact with the headset. But otherwise, somebody in their own home just puts the headset on when they need to do their prescriptions or when they feel like they're to get up their reps for the day. Right.
And what sort of cost is involved in this sort of software and hardware that goes with it, love?
Yeah, the hardware is a more expensive than it should be, and it's gone up recently since the chip shortage and all of that sort of stuff. So the headset is $1,500, and that's a one-off payment because you will own that, and you can put on as much software as you want onto that headset, and then the software is also $1,500 a year. So that's a subscription, and NDIS is that fits within a consumable budget for
NDIS
cost AT.
Oh, that's excellent. Does anybody else have any questions at all? Can we go back to the big screen, please?
Oh yes,
so
of
I
course.
can see people. Sorry, thanks, love. Does anybody else have any questions, Christian?
So this wouldn't be covered by my aged care?
Well, but my aged care will be changing very shortly, Judy. So if you look at what's going to be happening in 2024, 2025, when they're moving over to the new stage of my aged care, I'm not saying it will be, but I'm saying there's the potential that it will be, because nobody knows what they're going to do. But I'm assuming that because they're now looking at the model of NDIS and they're looking to replicate that with the My Aged Care program, that this sort of stuff will be included in that. And that would be my hope, quite frankly, because it then opens up the possibility for this sort of software to be available to a lot of people. But we also make the assumption that people can't afford stuff, and we never offer it to them because we say, oh, look, that they can't afford it. And one of the things that I've found over the years in social work is that something that works, and I like the idea that you're doing some research with our club. And so once the efficacy of the program has been absolutely proven, then I think this is something that people will probably invest in. I like the virtual reality thing as well. I like the fact that you can sit in your lounge room and go to the Great Barrier Reef and have a swim. It sounds like fun to me, apart from anything else. And, I think computers are using virtual reality in a number of ways that we can basically tap into them now. But this is a really neat program that looks at how you use that in terms of therapy.
So we're partnering with we've got a number of partners now, and we're being pulled in many different directions. Everyone wants a different condition to be worked with. So we're working with the UC Rehabilitation Hospital in Canberra for really acute neurological conditions. So working with the smallest of movements in a sling. And gamifying those kinds of elements, or we're also working with lots of psychologists who are looking for more of that kind of phobia exposure, mindfulness. We're working with a group in Queensland who work solely with war veterans who have biopsychosocial conditions. They have agoraphobia. They have the physical, spinal and shoulder especially problems that they need to work on, and they often have chronic pain as well after carrying packs, for 5-10 years.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother suite of things that kind of uses a bit of everything, but those people have more ability than you would say a major neurological condition. So it's trying to fill all of these gaps, and what we're trying to do is currently is keep, make sure the telehealth doesn't go black every 5 minutes. These are the sort of, we're building a platform on which all of these things can exist, and where, the potential is really limitless, and it's very hard to satisfy everyone's conditions. But we'll get there.
And when you go on, say, you were showing us originally the whatever walk, the trail walk,
Mm-hmm.
does that involve people actually walking, or does that involve them just going down the trail?
Yeah, that's right. So we don't motivate anyone to walk around.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe stand in front of your own chair.
Yep.
So that you are working a little bit of your lower body, but because of safety reasons, we always think about, can somebody in a wheelchair do this activity?
Right.
That's a minimum. Somebody in a wheelchair has to be able to achieve the activity. So so in that is a mental health application where you are slowly traveling through a rainforest in the Dandenongs.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
I got lost in the rainforest in the Dandenongs once. That is not a good experience. But my other question is things like balance. Have you thought about incorporating those sort of games in the program at all?
So we've also created a technology which uses a webcam to map your body and transport it into the virtual reality environment, in which we will be able to do lower body.
Right.
Yes, with so many, and so that's sitting there waiting to be implemented. But of course, we need to build a library around that where the activities use the lower body. So that might come in the next 6 months. But absolutely, VR has a limitation of it being 2 controls and a headset, which is upper body.
Yep.
We need to start bringing that lower body in as well.
And with the research you're doing with ARC, is that is that looking at the physical stuff, or is that looking at the mental health?
That's the physical stuff. But what we've found at Royal Rehab is that they use the VR a lot in preparation for the physical. So it's not necessarily using the physical games. What they'll use it for is some mindfulness and some motor imagery exposure, which decreases the pain of the participant. And then they do their physical rehabilitation in person, because the person is able to move more flexibly and get more out of the therapy because they're in a decreased pain state. So that's really interesting how you build these things and you put them out in the world, and clinicians use them in all sorts of different ways.
And are they doing research on that, love? Because that would be really they're
doing research on engagement across all of their assistive rehabilitation technologies. So what do people want to do, and how much are they doing it?
And are they well, you probably may not know, I might have to ask. Royal Rehab are actually going to present at our Creating Connections conference I think it's about 6 weeks now, and they're going to be talking about their technological hub and what it offers to people, and hopefully they'll show us some of this equipment again in how they use it in therapy. But I guess my whole thing is this is great, and we've got, I guess, what do you call it, anecdotal evidence that it works, but in order for it to be really accepted by the clinicians in the field, and particularly by organisations like New South Wales Health, which are our main providers of healthcare, really, and certainly rehab in this state, it's going to have to, I guess, pass some research and get some level 1 research, I guess, approvals with it, or validations, so it'll be interesting to see. So is there anywhere in New South Wales Health that you're looking to utilise this stuff, or they've not approached you?
No, actually, approached me a couple of times, and the latest one was for what do you call that? It's a halfway home for kids who have had injury. And yeah, so I forget what the kind of service is, but yeah, looking at not exactly pediatrics, but younger people, and trying to motivate therapy within a younger audience, which VR is very good at. We have clients on the NDIS who are ASD and ADHD.
Yeah.
Who spend a lot of time playing video games, and having a therapy VR application gets them up and out of their chair, which is extremely important for them, because they get very obsessed with sitting down and doing
nothing,
just their thumbs. So yeah, so that was an interesting one from New South Wales Health, but I see the product being an amazing tool for the connection between inpatient and outpatient care. So having, this is absolutely, we have to get the clinical research here too. If somebody has a stroke, having this in the hospital bed available straight away, so that you're not waiting, especially in rural areas where there might not be a physiotherapist in the hospital, and sit there waiting for physical therapy when you have a window, that is where your body is still ready to go. And so getting this on your head straight away, and then being able to go home and use it as well, and have a full picture of your how much activity you're doing over time. It's a bridge of kind of data in between inpatient and outpatient care, but that's it. Yeah, I've got to get the proof to be able to make that work.
That's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, one of the things you'll find with stroke survivors, if you work with them a lot, love, is they're very competitive, and they cheat. I'm talking about you people, and they cheat. So we do a reps to recovery with Royal Rehab. That's one of our major things that we do every year for a week, a reps to recovery program. So we might look to see whether or not we might be able to institute some of this next year, actually, without the people who are doing reps to recovery, because it's a good way to make sure that they actually do the therapies that they're saying they're doing.
That's right.
Map how well they're doing, which would be really good. It'll be really good. So I'd like to chat to you more about that sometime in the future, because that'd be great. And we also do what we call our Stroke Olympics, and our Stroke Olympics are a games day for stroke survivors, which is physical games at the moment. So it's cognitive games, dominoes, that sort of stuff, carpet bowls, all of that sort of stuff. But virtual reality games would be a really interesting addition to that program as well. And we're attracting a lot of younger stroke survivors, so this is the sort of thing that would interest them as well. Fascinating, can I say? Fascinating. But I guess for me, the main application I see is in neuropathic pain, because there's so little of it available, or so little treatment available for it. And if I must have a chat with Royal Rehab to find out how they're using it, because I'd be fascinated to see how it actually works if people are getting out of that pain state to be able to do their rehab. That would be really interesting to observe. Really interesting. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions, seeing I've taken up most of the time here today? Nobody else has any questions? Maria?
I have one. You said earlier before that you're working on a software for speech. I'm just wondering, I guess, if you can give us a insight to what this might look like as well, because that's something I guess is really important.
That's a really tough one, and because of speech recognition software. So it needs to be very, very flexible. With otherwise you can't really have an interactive application. It can't understand, and then you get nothing back. But that's coming leaps and bounds currently. We're currently implementing a mental health application, which is our first speech recognition kind of application where you can ask the application to give you an environment, and it will produce that environment through AI generation, and then you can paint that environment using the tools. So that's our kind of first actual application of voice recognition, but we've been trying to crack that kind of thing for a while, but it's extremely difficult. Yeah, so hopefully through more and more implementation of speech to text, text to speech, and all of those sorts of things, we will get there one day.
And Love, are you a big company or you're a small developing company?
Small growing company, absolutely.
And you're getting support in that from government in terms of those grants they have available for small and developing companies that are doing good in the world.
Yeah. Well, our first, like when I first had the idea, I went to the ACT government, and yes, it was a grant that started us up.
Right.
Since then, it's been, I did an accelerator with Cerebral Palsy Alliance.
Yep.
So, and through that kind of accelerator, we learn a lot about accessibility for people, and yeah, kind of getting into those networks of people that are actively working with people with needs. So yeah, it's been an interesting ride, and money comes from all sorts of different places to just keep us going to get to the point where, like right now, we're just starting to release this platform on which things can build. It's a long journey to even get here, but for such a small company, we're punching above our weight in terms of what's available worldwide. And yes, hopefully that will be the key to taking over the world.
It'd be interesting though. We have a couple of conferences every year, and we've got a building capacity conference coming up next year that will be and we might follow you up and see how your platform has gone at that stage, and then possibly talk to you about coming to present at that, because that's mainly aimed at our stroke survivors, which we bring all our clubs together for that, and all our club coordinators together for that, and it's also the sort of message that we want to get out to our clubs too, that there's new and emerging technologies coming which are going to be game changers, really, aren't they, in terms of recovery from stroke. It's going to be great. And I love the fact that it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to increase your function, but it means that you're going to have a platform by which you can get out and about a bit, even if it's only in your mind. And that, for depression, anxiety, and certainly for pain, is tremendous.
Absolutely. I was talking earlier about the self-determination theory. So one of that's autonomy, competence, and what's the third one? It's socialization. It's the social side. So one of the next things, we're building up our library of many different things, because every joint needs several different applications to keep that goal interesting over a long period of time. But we're also creating a multiplayer environment so that you can find people with similar conditions, play tennis against them, chat to them, maybe add them to your friend network, or play tennis against your clinician. So getting like actually creating a social kind of environment within the virtual environment, so that we can kind of close that loop of it being a fully biopsychosocial application. Well,
that sounds great to me. Sounds really good. Excellent. Okay. Any more questions from anybody? Anybody think they might use it? Judy, how do you think Alan would go with it?
Alan's shaking his head here.
Are you shaking your head, Alan?
Yes.
And is that because you'd be too lazy to use it, love? Or
No. Good.
Good, do you? Okay. Well, one of the things we might do actually, Alan, when you come down, if you're coming down for Stroke Awareness Week, I might see whether or not we can get across to Royal Rehab and have a look at it with you. That'd be an interesting thing to do.
Okay.
It'll be fun. You could have a look. It's a really fabulous area that they've got there at Royal Rehab. It really is. And I'm very interested to see that ARC are picking up on it as well, because I wasn't aware that they were expanding into the technological hub. And there are two major referral spaces, really,
Right.
because they're neurological apart from anything else, and they provide outpatient programs, and they also go into people's homes. They don't rely solely on people coming to them.
Yeah.
But it is that space in the remote areas that ARC haven't looked at quite enough yet, and Royal Rehab have at least taken a couple of steps in the right direction in that. So it's good. It is good. And, you know, the other issue, which you did raise, is that the number of rehab beds has been inordinately reduced, both in the public and private sector. So there's going to be much more reliance on telehealth when people go home and getting them out of hospital quickly and doing their rehab at home. So I think this is something that's going to go well into the future and provide an excellent skill sort of set for people as they move into their recovery. Great. Okay, no further questions of Christian at all? No?
No.
All right, love. Well, we might call a halt to it then and say thank you very, very much. It was an excellent presentation and really interesting.